Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics and the fallout within the UK Conservative Party from Joe Biden winning the US presidential election is still going on and on and on. And there are still a few things to discuss. Now, in this video, I'd like to take a look at the Conservative MPs who are trying to tell Biden to do one, even though they now know he's actually going to be President of the United States next January. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So there were quite a few Conservative MPs having a pop at Joe Biden in September, quite a lot of them, or who have otherwise annoyed him, looking at you, Priti Patel. But I'm going to get to those in another video later this week, because those MPs have at least started to distance themselves from their opposition to Biden as they finally take note of the way the political wind has changed. But there are still those in the party who just don't get it. John Redwood and Iain Duncan Smith still feel able to tell Joe Biden, President-elect of the United States, to kindly piss off. John Redwood first, because he's really gone for it. He's written an open letter to the next president, a missive that has been described as a warning letter. Not quite sure what John Redwood has to back up any warning to the leader of America, but we could muse on that later, not in this video, because I've got no idea what it's about. But Redwood's angle is, first of all, to try and suggest, there's two angles really. The first one is to try and suggest to the president-elect that Brexiteers, his crew, have a larger mandate than Biden himself. Right, okay, let's look at that one and knock it off its lofty perch first. Nice easy starter for 10. So there were 17.4 million votes for Brexit in 2016. 17.4 million. The point at which I'm doing this, Joe Biden has 76.3 million votes. Is 17.4 million really more than 76.3 million? I mean, even for Brexit maths, is that a thing? I mean, more people have voted for Joe Biden than actually live in the UK, let alone vote, let alone did vote in 2016. Of course, he didn't actually mean a bigger mandate. He meant a proportionally larger mandate. Maths not his strong point, you know. So let's look at that. At the time of recording this, Joe Biden has a 51.7% share of the vote, from figures in The Guardian. That count is still going on. It's now close to completion in terms of the number of ballots. I have no idea in terms of the time. It seems to go on forever. 51.7% and counting. Could go up. You know, if the ballot's still to be counted, if he gets proportionally more of them than Trump does, it's going to go up. Brexit won with 51.9%. Numerically, yeah, a larger percentage to 0.1%. Of course, if you'd like to round it off to the nearest percent point, which is much more usual, then they both have 52%. So the statement is tenuous at best and may not even be that long-lived, considering that the Biden count is still going up, as long as it carries on going out of proportion to Trump's count. Then there's the concept of the mandate. Biden has a 52% share to become president. That's his mandate. This is a stunning mandate. In fact, he has a 52% share of the vote to be not Trump, because that's basically his main campaign point, wasn't it? Now, according to Brexiteers themselves, that's a stunning mandate. 52%. Wow, you really got a mandate there. Not sure why John Redwood would try and play down such a figure. It's their favourite number. But what exactly is Redwood claiming a mandate for? Because he's attacking Joe Biden's stance on Brexit. But what is Joe Biden's stance on Brexit? Is Joe Biden calling for the UK to rejoin the EU? No. He's just calling on it to stick to its own international agreement. That's all. That's it. Simple as that. You had that deal. You promised that deal. You had that oven-ready deal. You had the withdrawal agreement. Stick to that. Just stick to your own word. That's all he's asking for. The 52% who voted for Brexit in 2016 didn't vote to spend 3 years arranging a withdrawal agreement with the EU, only to tear it up a few months later. That wasn't in the campaign speeches or literature, and it certainly wasn't on the ballot. So the mandate from that point of view is absolute nonsense. There is no mandate for failing to uphold the Northern Ireland Protocol. We didn't even know about it in 2016. We knew there'd have to be something similar if we paid attention, but we didn't know what it was going to be in 2016, so no one voted for that. Maybe he's talking about the more recent general election, in that people who voted Conservatives did vote for the Northern Ireland Protocol, because it's right there in the manifesto. Besides, pro-Brexit parties won less than 46% of the vote in that election. The majority, over 50%, voted for parties that were going to at least offer another referendum before leaving. None of them, the majority of votes, went to parties that wanted to leave without a further referendum. So, first claim, load of rubbish. Not that it would make any difference, of course. Joe Biden is duty-bound to pay attention to American voters, not British ones. That's ridiculous. Redwood tries to suggest that although Biden has won the election, he doesn't go in for any of that Trump-fueled, conspiracy nonsense. That Trump nonetheless got 70 million votes, a whopping 70 million votes. Can't ignore that. Sure enough. But Trump's votes weren't for tearing up the Northern Ireland Protocol either. Republicans in general, and even Trump's own personal appointments, have criticised Johnson's attempts to tear up his own agreement. Trump was not campaigning or even accepting a US trade deal that screwed over Ireland. We may need to remind Redwood that even under Trump's presidency, you look over the last 4 years, Irish heads of government have continued to have closer access to both the White House and Capitol Hill than their UK counterparts. He tried to explain the notion that Johnson's actions would lead to a breach of the Good Friday Agreement as lies. He said, no, this is nonsense. Nonsense. It's just the EU saying this. But the problem here is that such a lie may work on some of the general public, certainly those more sympathetic towards Brexit, even potentially inexperienced lawmakers on his own benches. It doesn't work on a man with decades of experience in politics, who's already formed part of a government, and who has taken a special interest in Ireland, especially as he has access to the best legal advice on any such matters whenever he needs it. Redwood is trying to say that it's not the UK planning a hard border inside Ireland, but it's the EU, it'll be their fault. But this is deeply misleading, in a way that again can only possibly work on imbeciles who follow Brexiteers like Redwood. It makes no difference who physically puts a border in place. What matters is why it is there. If the UK do not erect a customs border between Britain and Northern Ireland, as Boris Johnson promised the British electorate last December, as well as the EU, Ireland, and the wider world, then the customs border has to go somewhere. And the reason there needs to be a customs border is us. We want it. Boris Johnson wants different customs arrangements to the EU. Ergo, there has to be a border. He wants a border. Brexit's all about borders. Sure enough, we didn't expect the one around Kent, but it's all about borders, So it has to be somewhere between the UK and the EU. And if it's not going to be between Britain and Northern Ireland, as it should be, then it's going to have to be between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. That's just international rules. That's the World Trade Organization for you. And so these misleading statements, again, they can work on Brexit supporters, sure, but in case Redwood hadn't noticed, Brexit supporters no longer even have any say over politics in the UK anymore. No bearing at all on US politics. A truly pointless letter that only seeks to further embarrass his own government, but perhaps that's the aim. Redwood, after all, is not in a position of power. He's got nothing to lose. No matter how much of a disaster Brexit is, both nationally and internationally, it won't be his fault. It'll be someone else's. He doesn't care. No skin off his nose. Then we had Iain Duncan Smith, very briefly. We don't need to spend long on this. The MP who exists purely to stop Chris Grayling being dubbed dumbest lawmaker in Britain. He has tried to say that Brexit has got nothing to do with Joe Biden. Nothing to do with you. An odd statement, given that all of this flared up about the diminishing prospect of a US trade deal in the first half of 2021. That's what this is all about. It's about it's not about an EU deal, it's about a US trade deal. That's what it's about, Iain. Now tell me again how a US trade deal has got nothing to do with the US president. I'm all ears. No, okay. He then banged on about sovereign nations. Of course, something that Brexiteers keep forgetting is that all nations are sovereign. EU nations, for example, are sovereign. That's why they don't have to sign up to a trade deal with the UK if they don't like it. It's not even the smallest member gets to be outvoted on that. If they don't like it, it's not happening. All there is to it, not happening. The US is sovereign too. If they don't want a UK trade deal on the conditions that the British government is laughably trying to demand, do you know what? They don't have to agree to the deal either. See, that's what sovereignty is. And that's what they're moaning about. So they're complaining that we're not going to get a US trade deal. What are they doing? Are they trying to say that the US shouldn't be sovereign? That the US president shouldn't lead? That seems odd. But there we are. Backbench Brexiteers doing what backbench Brexiteers do best, make us all look ridiculous and cause more harm to the rest of us. I mean, in 2021, you know, we're not even going to be able to get the usual respite by noting, you know, no matter how bad it gets here, we can go, well, yeah, but look what you've put in charge of America over there. Because they're at least getting rid of their idiot-in-chief. And we're stuck with ours. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.